Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a good day. It's February 25th, 2019, Monday afternoon on the East Coast, New York. I just want to go over really quickly this possible ABC as we have it as not being completed, and in fact, this is just the completed one of 5 of C here, which, as you guys could see, this is quite the bull trap if this is to play out like this. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to go over as to why I do not like this. Because if you're calling this an ABC, obviously this is a corrective move up, which I do think that this move up is a corrective move. But if you're calling this an ABC, you're obviously you have this as wave 4, and then we're going to put in the 5 to put in new lows, or at least to challenge this low here. My main problem with this is, as you can see, this trend line, which I covered on the last video, this would break this trend line. And you can see, as I also covered in the last video, this massive just void of volume here. So like I said, if this trend line breaks, I expect a massive breakout here, which in fact would, if this ABC here, as it's labeled here, and if this count is to play out, this would fill this volume gap. And we would push past this trend line, past this descending resistance here, and we would just basically blast off into the 5,400 region, you know, anywhere from 5,200 to, you know, as high as 5,600. And, you know, it's quite, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But, and then I'll just go over the subwaves really quickly. I have this on a 4-hour chart, so the subwaves are not broken up that well, but we would expect to see either an ABC correction to put in our 2 here, or a WXY, or some type of corrective movement here, which we're kind of seeing now. We are seeing a retrace back to the upside, which is expected in any kind of 3-wave, you know, corrective move. So, I mean, this corrective move upwards, even if we're looking at this, the bear count, the alternate count, as this being a 1, 2, and we're going to put in a 3, 4, 5, either way, this has to break. This has to push back to the upside and retest some of these areas up here. And this can go as far as, you know, geez, I mean, this can go to 4,100 without invalidating either one of these counts. So, you know, this bounce here, I expect this bounce to actually put in to continue higher. We might put in a new low here. We might break the 3709 or wherever we caught from, just by a little bit, and then start to push back up. But either way, this should push back up here. But the main reason that I do not like this count as this ABC here, if you look at this, I mean, technically, yes, this is valid. I mean, this looks good just as far as a, you know, geometry standpoint. But this is pretty deep for a C wave. If you compare this to the A, I mean, get this here, get this right here. I mean, this is, it's possible, but, you know, my problem with this is this looks more like a 1, 2, 3. This is more typical of a 1, 2, 3 pattern. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get this right on these levels here, so that I can pull fib without actually being on the price. So basically, we would have this would be the beginning of the A. Well, you know what? Actually, let me do it on the price. I like that better. I like that idea better. So let's put this back here. I'm just going to slide it over to make it easier for me. But So basically we would have, get this over here. Let's move this. All right, so we're going to go the length of the A, and we're going to get these right on here. Length of the A, right, to the proposed B, which is this subwave. This move here would be the B, so we're going to move this here. And as you can see, this count here is going beyond the 1618 of the A. And although it's not out of the realm of possibility, this is really not where you would generally look for a C wave to finish. You would look for it here at the 1272 at about 47.59, you know, or 49.19 even. But to go beyond that, I think that becomes bullish if we push past this 1618 here. And so in other words, it's not that I'm bullish or bearish. It's just that for this count to be an ABC, the count itself is bearish. So in my opinion, for us to go up this high and remain bearish is one hell of a bull trap, number one. And number two, in my opinion, it's less likely because, I mean, it's just less technical. It's less likely for this C to extend this high like this. It's much more likely for then for this to just basically be an enormous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it almost, you don't even have to really change anything. That's what this looks more like if that C is to go up this high. So in some ways, it will sure as hell trap everyone. If this in fact is an ABC, and we're going to go up this high up here, this is going to look extremely bullish. It's going to look like the whole bear market, the bear cycle is over, and we are in fact going to the moon. And in fact, if this is a big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the chances are we are going to the moon. So you know what I mean? But just from a technical point of view, I just don't see it going that high and still being corrective. Now, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But in my opinion, if we go beyond 4,800 here or 4,760, to me, that's bullish. That's more bullish. And then here's the other reason why, as I also covered in the last video. If you take the length of, now I'm not going to relabel these. I think you guys already know where I'm going with this, but if you take the length of the proposed 3, which if this is in fact an ABC, this is clearly going to be the 4th wave up here, the count that I just labeled, and we're going back down for the 5. So that, I don't think you can argue that point. I mean, there's really nothing else it can be. You would have it as the 4 of the 5 of the C of the Y. So if you take the length of the 3, which is the top of the 2, this would be where the 2 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. You see here, this is, I'm going to have to actually flip this around. Sorry, guys, I always do that. Okay. So this would be the length of the 3 here. Okay. And you can see that the common location for a 4 to finish is between the 382 of the 3 and the 50% retracement mark. That's generally speaking where you're looking for a 4. Can it go as high as the 65 or the 618? Absolutely it can. But the probability as you start to go up in here is that we are in fact not in a 4. So, you know, sure, it can go as high as 58.80. And the good news for bulls is that if the 4 is in fact going to go this high, then this bear market is not, should not, I don't want to say will not, but should not end below 2,000 if we are in fact going to push this high. In fact, we could even double bottom and kind of fake out past this low here. But this is going to be, if this plays out as an ABC, this is going to be a monumental bull trap. And one of the things I always talk about is in bear cycles or in bubble cycles, which we're clearly in a long, huge corrective cycle. And you cannot argue that this is a bubble cycle. It is. I mean, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. But one of the main ingredients for a big bear cycle or a big bubble cycle to finish, in my opinion, you must have an enormous bull trap to trap everyone. In other words, let me get back to the, I'm going to go to the 1 day really quickly. But one of the main ingredients in these massive down cycles or these bear cycles is you need a massive bull trap. In other words, you need all the people that left throughout this area here to come back in and basically get destroyed again. And that's basically how you have true capitulation. And, you know, I'm always talking about capitulation, and I think somebody brought up that capitulation in crypto is overused. It's an overused terminology, and I completely disagree. I think it's used incorrectly, but I think it is, in fact, an enormous ingredient that's needed, especially when you have basically the bigger the run up, the more capitulation you expect before the market corrects itself. And we start a new healthy trend, and we start to, you know, push onto our next bull cycle. So, you know, one of those ingredients is for everyone that left in here and everyone that gave up here to come back in, get destroyed again before we have true capitulation, before we can start moving forward. And the only reason I bring that up is because this would offer that. This offers this opportunity, this count here. Everyone will get destroyed on this count if, in fact, this does play out like this. So the bears will get destroyed. The bulls will get destroyed. You know, I mean, the bulls will just be euphoric again if we do this. You know, so it's heinous. It's like evil. But this is the way that markets work. I mean, markets generally separate the majority of people from the majority of their money. That's just the way it works. So I'm not lean. I don't like this count for a few technical reasons. Now, does that mean it doesn't play out? No, it doesn't. The market doesn't care what I like. So, but this is something to be aware of here. And you know, so I did just want to cover this other possibility here. But you know, but we'll see. I want to cover all possibilities, all scenarios. You know, this one to me, again, the nice thing about this count here is, and I brought this up in my last video, is that if we touch this line here again, we're going to have a massive breakout. I don't believe that we can test this resistance again and not break up. I don't think it's possible, because this is the third time we've put in a new low. There's been some, you can argue that there's been a lot of accumulation down here, and people buying and holding and not caring if we go to zero. They're just not going to sell. They don't care. They bought in. That's it. So, you know, I don't see us hitting this trend line and not breaking out and filling in some of this void here, this volume void. So this count does line up with that. And this count also lines up with an enormous bull trap. So, you know, but I tell you what, if we do this, you know, you're really going to have to consider that this bottom is in fact the bottom, and that this is not an ABC, and it is in fact the start of an impulsive wave up. So this will confuse the hell out of people. And one of the things that Bitcoin loves to do is confuse the hell out of people and basically wreck everybody. So, and it's not just Bitcoin; it's every market does this, but Bitcoin more so. So, you know, this is just something I'm looking at. How will we know? I think if we break above this high, if we trade, excuse me, if we trade above the A, I think we're coming to 50, at least 5,200. If we break, in other words, if we break 4,300, I think we're going to 5,200. If we do not break the top of this this fifth wave here, which would be the other count, which has this ending here as a flat correction, if we do not break 4,200, we'll call it, on Coinbase, then I think we're going down. We're going down to break this low. Now, that being said, we will still get this ABC here before we know. We have to see what happens in this box here. So, you know, that's it. I'm just going to keep the video short again, like I said last time. But I did want to cover this possible trap and to fill in some of this void here. You know, so, you know, there's no resistance up here. I mean, sure, there's resistance. There's the 200-day, etc. But as far as anything major, there's really nothing here. There is resistance at the 47 area, at the 52 area, but you know, I like our chances. Look where this trend line started. This trend line started at about $10,000. So I like our chances to push up if we touch this trend line. In fact, like I said, and I'll say it again, I don't think we touch this trend line and do not have a massive breakout to the upside. I don't think it's, could we? Sure, but I don't think so. So with that being said, I'm going to end here, and I might make one again later tonight on just trendline macro analysis. But if you like the content, like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.